Hello and welcome to Bust or Trust, a kids' mystery podcast. I'm Tiernan.
And I'm Athena. Bust or Trust is a podcast where we unravel the world's greatest mysteries with help from you, our chief detectives.
We present all the best evidence and then ask you to decide. Which team are you on?
Are you a myth buster like me?
Or are you a myth truster like me? We look into all sorts of strange stories from around the world. No mystery is too big for us. Like, how did people study history in the old days when it was history?
Good question. I reckon they just got the children to write down what they did the day before.
Smart. Anyway, we'll tell you at the end of the show just how to get in touch so you can let us know if you're on Team Buster or the best one, Team Truster.
So, chief detectives, get ready to take notes and start putting together your case while we have a quick word with the grown-ups. Hello there, mystery fans. Did you know that we depend on your support to keep making Bust or Trust?
If you subscribe and support Bust or Trust on Patreon or Apple Podcasts, you'll get access to weekly subscriber bonus episodes with extra evidence, ad-free listening, and early access to all our episodes.
And you'll get our weekly newsletter full of fun facts, book recommendations, fun new words, and a monthly colouring poster to print at home, featuring some of the weirdest and wildest mysteries we've investigated.
To support the show and get access to all these great goodies, just click subscribe in Apple Podcasts, subscribe to Patreon via Spotify, or visit patreon.com/Bust or Trust podcast. Or for more information, visit our website at bustortrust.com.
The case.
This week, we are looking at the case of Bonnybridge in Scotland.
Bonnybridge? That sounds like a lovely place. Bonny means beautiful, right? So, a beautiful bridge.
Scotland has quite a lot of bridges, and it does look very pretty, but Bonnybridge must be a bridge between planets or even other dimensions, as it's the place with the most UFO sightings in the world.
Wow, that is impressive. Does it also happen to be a Team Truster holiday location? Is that why?
No, it's not, but that is a good idea. It could be like a holiday park for trusters with UFO spotting excursions, boating trips on locks that may have monsters in, and, a ghost in every room that you can stay in.
How exactly would you sort that out?
Oh, I reckon all the monsters, ghosts and aliens would be happy to help out if they knew no busters were visiting to shut them down. I'd call it, Camp Trustings.
That is terrible.
Okay, how about Paranormal Centre Parks? Or But It's True Lins?
Worse.
I'll get there, you'll see. But first, let's tell our chief detectives all about Bonnybridge.
If it stops you thinking of bad holiday camp names, then I'm in. Bonnybridge is in an area of Scotland called Falkirk, which is kind of right in the middle of the country and a bit to the east. It's very close to the Firth of Forth, an estuary that runs from the North Sea into the centre of Scotland. An estuary is a place where a river meets the ocean. For many years, Bonnybridge was known as an industrial village, with mills for paper, wood, chemical factories, and several iron foundries where workers made metal heating stoves. It's now a quiet little village with only 9,000 residents, 3 primary schools, and a library.
But Bonnybridge is now also very famous for being a UFO hotspot. In 1992, a man called James Walker noticed unidentified lights over the village. From that point on, Bonnybridge became the home of UFO sightings, with over 300 a year. UFO stands for Unidentified Flying Objects. The village is part of the Falkirk Triangle, a mysterious area known for strange sightings. In 1979, a man reported a close encounter with aliens, and in 1992, 2 men claimed they were abducted by extraterrestrials.
Reports say the most commonly seen UFO is a large, black, triangular object which flies silently and slowly. Balls of coloured light are also seen to fall and rise from the sky. Theories about what these UFOs are range from, of course, aliens, to military test aircraft, or even natural phenomena caused by gases reacting to the atmosphere.
But to this day, no one has explained just why Bonnybridge is the place to see UFOs. So now it's up to you, chief detectives. Are aliens regularly visiting Scotland or not?
I like Scotland a lot, but why would aliens keep wanting to visit Bonnybridge?
I reckon the library has some great books in it, and then once they've borrowed, they have to return them after a few weeks.
Yeah, nice theory, but I'm sure there's a more scientific reason for all of this.
And I think the answer is out of this world. As you'll see, in the first piece of evidence.
First piece of evidence.
The first piece of evidence is the hundreds of UFO sightings at Bonnybridge. In fact, the village is often referred to as the Scottish Roswell, after the famous alien incident in Roswell, USA in 1947 that we've looked into on this show before.
But Roswell was just one incident, and you're saying Bonnybridge has had loads.
That's true. Take that, Roswell. To date, people have spotted UFOs above and near Bonnybridge over 300 times a year. The first and most famous of these was in 1992 when a man called James Walker was driving along a country road at night between the town of Falkirk and Bonnybridge. Ahead of him, hovering above the road, was a brightly shining triangular-shaped object blocking his way. James stopped the car and the object flew off at super fast speed, before disappearing and startling James, who very quickly drove away.
If it was late and James was tired, then what he thought was a UFO could have been a number of things, from an unidentified aerial phenomenon like a comet or just a trick of the light.
I'd be a bit concerned if a comet was hovering above the ground before flying off. But what's more telling is that James Walker's sighting was only the first UFO spotted in the area over the next 30 years. That same year, the Sloggett family were on an evening walk near Bonnybridge when the dad, Stephen, pointed out to the others that there was a blue basketball-sized light in the sky. It made a whirring sound before swooping down and landing in a nearby field. As the family ran away down the road, a blinding light shot out towards them through the trees. In 1994, 3 cleaners were on their way to work in Detchmont, about 30 minutes away from Bonnybridge, when they saw 5 UFOs. They told their boss when they arrived at work, and it turned out that several employees had said they'd seen similar things over the past week. They all reported strange flashing lights and orange orbs in the sky. These are just a few of many, many sightings. The most regularly reported types of UFOs are orbs of light, cigar-shaped and triangular crafts. They all make whirring sounds and often have flashing lights. Maybe there's lots of different aliens that keep visiting. Perhaps they've all been telling each other about it being the best tourist destination while they chat away in their space cafes.
Space cafes? I don't think those exist. But I suppose if they did, they'd serve everything on a flying saucer.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
You're telling me? Here's your order.
Oh, a nice plate of baked beans on toast. Thanks.
You're welcome. Even though there's been over 300 sightings of UFOs in Bonnybridge per year, it's widely thought many of them are explainable. I never thought I'd quote a ufologist, that's someone who studied UFOs, but even ufologist Malcolm Robinson, who believes in alien spaceships, says that 95% of the sightings in Bonnybridge can be explained. That might be by funny cloud formations, tricks of natural light, weather balloons, or misidentified aircraft.
OK, but that still leaves 5% that can't be explained. Robinson also said that he always checks with local airports, local flying clubs, and meteorological situations, like when there are comets or meteors in the sky. And for these 5%, there was just no good reason for what the UFOs could be, except UFOs.
That is true, but without any photo evidence for most of these sightings, it's very hard to tell if people saw a UFO at all. It could be, like with many of our cases, that hearing about Bonnybridge being a UFO hotspot influenced them into thinking that whatever they'd seen or heard was one. And sightings have really dropped in recent years, so it could be as simple as the lights from a building or a site in the area that now isn't there anymore.
All good ideas, Athena, but there's no proof of anything in the area ever causing high-speed flying orbs. And as you'll see in piece of evidence number 2, it seems very likely that those unexplained 5% of sightings really are visitors from outer space.
Second piece of evidence.
The second piece of evidence is that Bonnybridge is in an area that's been called the Falkirk Triangle, on account of how many unusual UFO and extraterrestrial-based events have happened there. The most well-known of these is known as the Robert Taylor Incident, or Detchmont Woods Encounter, and it took place in the area of West Lothian in 1979. Robert Taylor was a forester, and on the 9th of November 1979, he returned home after working in a hilly area called Detchmont Law. When he arrived, his wife saw that his clothes were all torn and covered in mud. He also had grazes on his chin and thighs. Taylor said that he'd walked up the forest path at Detchmont with his dog when he saw a large flying dome hovering above the forest floor in a clearing. He said the dome was a dark metallic material with a rough texture like sandpaper, and it had small propellers around the outer edges. Taylor said he then smelled a horrible burning odour before lots of smaller spheres seized him and dragged him towards the craft. He then passed out, and when he woke up, the objects were gone, but his truck wouldn't start, so he had to walk all the way home. The next day, police accompanied Taylor to the site where it happened, and they found strange ladder-shaped marks in the ground. The police said there was no rational explanation for them or for Taylor's story.
There are some theories about this. One is that the local water authority had left some pipes in the area before they were put in the ground. That could well have been what caused the ladder markings. The other is that it's thought the burning smell Robert Taylor smelled was a chemical leak from a factory nearby, and this might have made him disorientated and confused.
But there's no proof that either of those are definitely what happened. And Robert Taylor was a very well-respected war hero, with everyone in the area saying they didn't think he would lie about something like that happening to him.
No one thinks Taylor was lying, just that they think something else may have happened to him that he thought was a UFO. Patricia Hannaford, who is the founder of the Edinburgh University UFO Research Society and also a health professional, thought all the evidence showed that Robert Taylor had suffered from an attack of temporal lobe epilepsy. This is a brain condition that can cause someone to have a seizure and also see things that aren't there.
That does sound very possible, if it wasn't for how many other similar events have happened in the same Falkirk Triangle area. On August the 4th, 1990, in Calveen, north of Bonnybridge, a diamond object over 100 feet wide was seen hovering in the air for 10 minutes before rising up into the sky. A photographer caught an image of it, and the incident became world famous.
That photograph is amazing, but it's been debunked after a UFO researcher called Mike Barrer realised that it's a trick of the light, where clouds have covered part of a mountain, so the top section looks like it's floating in the air, creating an effect like a UFO. He realised this because usually you can see a range of hills and mountains, but in the picture, they're all covered by clouds.
OK, well, how about in 1992, when two friends were driving along the A70 road, when a black object hovered above them in the sky. They both passed out, and when they woke up, their car was facing in the other direction and they'd lost an hour of time. They were certain they'd been abducted by aliens.
Yeah, that is a really strange one. And as yet, no one's found a good explanation for what happened to them. But it could have been a car accident that made both men pass out and spin their car around.
Or aliens abducting them for an hour, which is quite brief, but I suppose the aliens had other places to be. Either way, these are just a few of the many incidents in the Falkirk Triangle, which Bonnybridge is part of, proving it's definitely an area of strange UFO goings-on.
Or that over many years, over a large area, several unconnected strange sounding things have happened and people have connected them because it helps create a story about the area.
I can see why you might think that, Athena, but piece of evidence number 3 shows that the UFOs at Bonnybridge are something to be taken very seriously indeed.
Third piece of evidence.
The third piece of evidence is that local Falkirk councillor Billy Buchanan has heard so many stories from residents about strange lights, hovering objects and alien abductions that he's written to several successive prime ministers for them to investigate it. But he's had no reply apart from former Ministry of Defence employee for investigating UFOs, Nick Pope. Nick Pope apologised to Billy Buchanan for his lack of reply and said that the government wouldn't respond as they were embarrassed that there were fast-flying objects that they couldn't identify. So that's proof even the government knows something strange is happening at Bonnybridge and won't admit it.
Or it could be that it's not worth their time or money investigating something that isn't real. Although there could be a real reason the government don't want to look at this, which is that most UFO sightings in the area happened in the 1990s, during which Machrihanish Royal Air Force Base off the west coast of Scotland would test stealth fighter aircraft by flying them over the mainland. That airbase is now closed, which might explain why there have been fewer sightings. The government wouldn't be able to reveal that, as all the details would be kept safe under the Official Secrets Act.
There might be fewer sightings, but there are still some sightings, which means it can't be stealth fighter jets.
I suppose what bothers me is, if somehow, impossibly, they were all aliens, why are they visiting Bonnybridge?
I think if you've travelled across space and seen much of the universe, maybe a small little rainy village with a post office is exactly where you'd go for a break.
Welcome to a place on the funny blue and green planet. I'm Gatali Parps, and this week I'm checking in on Hoob, a Zargolian who decided to take her chance and move her family from Arion, 249 light years away, to a small village in the Midlands. Well, Hoob, how are you and the family settling in? Do you think you'll be staying?
Oh, we love it, don't we, kids? We had no idea just what an amazing place Widmin Scriventow was, but wow, I think we found a new home from home.
That is so good to hear. What was it about this little village that you liked?
You know, sometimes when you're flying at warp speed through the Horsehead Nebula, witnessing the light from new stars begin to shine for the first time, it can be exhausting taking in all the new colours that most species cannot even begin to fathom. But here, in Widmin Scriventow, it's nearly all grey.
It really is, isn't it? And I think that's part of its charm.
For sure. The structures are grey, the roads are grey, the sky is grey. Even the people are grey. It's amazing. We all feel so rested. And you know what else, Gratali?
I think I know what you're going to say here, Hoob. You discovered the local transport, didn't you?
I have never seen anything like it. After we parked our ship hovering 6 feet above the ground in the forest, we were tired from travelling. But we knew we had to get a booze. Is that right? A booze?
A bus?
Yes, a bus. We had to get this miraculous thing, a bus, all the way to our new house.
House?
Yes, and this bus knew we were tired because even though the times table said it would collect us at 1500s, it didn't come till 1700s, giving us a lovely rest to look at all the scenery, like the gravel, and the grey sky, and a grey bird.
And I think it's just about to rain.
Oh, when isn't it? This cold, wet water from the sky is so much nicer than gravity-defying volcanoes or violent electric clouds.
I'm so pleased this move worked for you, and I hope you'll be sending everyone back home a message to invite them over.
Oh yes, but what's even more exciting is that there's no reception for our phones or antennas, so all our friends will just think we've vanished. So funny!
So funny. Tune in next time when we speak to Dathgar the Lava Warrior to see how his move to the Welsh Valleys has gone.
So many lammy-lambs. Oh. See? Earth is much more relaxing than much of the rest of the universe. They must be coming here for a holiday.
I never thought of our entire planet as a spa destination for aliens, but I can see it now.
You know who I hope never moves away? That's right, our chief detectives. They're just too good.
They really are. And now it's time for you all to decide. Are UFOs really visiting Bonnybridge or not?
Time to recap the evidence.
Evidence recap.
The first piece of evidence is the many UFO sightings that have happened in or near Bonnybridge since the 1990s. It's thought that there are over 300 sightings there per year.
But experts say 95% of those sightings are explainable. The others could also be people assuming that something they've seen is a UFO because they've heard so many stories about UFO activity in Bonnybridge.
The second piece of evidence is that Bonnybridge is within an area in Scotland known as the Falkirk Triangle, famous for a lot of alien activity. This includes Robert Taylor, who said he came very close to a strange spacecraft that tried to abduct him. Other examples include a UFO that a photographer took a picture of in the hamlet of Calveen and two men who thought they were taken by aliens when driving on a road called the A70.
But some experts think Robert Taylor had some sort of epileptic fit, which should have made him pass out and possibly see things that weren't there. The Calveen UFO photo is thought to be a trick of the light and some clouds. The Falkirk Triangle is an area where lots of unrelated things happen, but people have linked them all together to help make the case that UFOs have visited the Falkirk Triangle.
The final piece of evidence is that local Falkirk councillor Billy Buchanan has written to several UK Prime Ministers asking for an investigation into the Bonnybridge UFO sightings. He's never had a response showing that they are trying to cover something up.
But it's more likely that they didn't think there was anything worth investigating. Or, if they are covering anything up, it might be that many of the sightings were from a nearby Royal Air Force base, which was operating and training pilots to fly stealth planes, which may also explain many of the sightings over Bonnybridge.
So now we're handing it over to you, Chief Detectives.
What do you think? Are you a UFOs of Bonnybridge mythbuster?
Or a UFOs of Bonnybridge myth truster? Get in touch and let us know your thoughts. And most importantly, which side you're on. I think this case is an identified Team Truster win.
I think you must be feeling a bit spaced out. It's a Team Buster win for sure. Send us your voice notes with an explanation of why you're a myth truster or myth buster when it comes to whether mysterious UFOs are really visiting Bonnybridge or not.
All you have to do is ask your grown-ups to help you. Email us your voice notes or thoughts to hello@bustortrust.com.
Tell us your name, age, what you think all the evidence means, and please make sure your grown-ups give us permission to use your voice notes or emails in our next episode.
We won't always be able to use all of them.
But we do love to hear them, and here are some thoughts from you lot, our chief detectives, on the last few episodes.
Hello, my name is Arthur and I'm a Team Truster on the Jersey Devil because how could they make a Jersey Devil body and show it to the other people?
Welcome to Team Truster. I think you are right. How could they have made a Jersey Devil body and showed it to people unless there was already a Jersey Devil whose body they had that they could show it to other people from? Yes, you're right. And thank you very much for listening to the show.
There's loads of ways. They could have used paper mache, plaster. They could have used those balloons that you blow up and fold into shapes.
It was not a balloon. That was not a balloon animal. The Jersey Devil body was not a balloon animal, Athena.
Was it a bear?
It was not a bear. Unbelievable.
We've had a message from Easton. Question for the show. Dear Bust or Trust, I'm on the trust team, and as a truster, I believe that life on space is real because there is a bug that is called the water bear that can survive in space. I'm almost 9 years old. My name is Easton. Well, maybe that bug is a bug from Earth that can survive in space, so it's an alien when it goes to other planets. But on Earth, it's just a bug.
That's very smart. You know, water bear, they are a little bug that come from Earth, but they're so weird. They kind of look alien-like. So maybe they came from space first. Either way, it's a brilliant idea. Well done, Easton.
An excellent fact, because I did not know that. By the way, absolutely thrilled there's a bug called water bear, because that's something else we can blame mysteries on.
Oh no, more blame on bears.
I never get tired of hearing all the messages our chief detectives send in. We make a fantastic team.
The very best. And if you enjoyed the show, please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Amazon Music, or wherever you listen to your podcasts for more great episodes.
We love to hear what you think, so please do rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps more detectives find Bust or Trust.
A huge thanks to all of you who are supporting the show on Patreon. You really are helping us make more Bust or Trust. Here are some shout-outs for our lovely supporters.
Big thank you to Chief Detective Kavitha, who is 8 from Oklahoma in the US.
And a huge thank you to our Chief Detective Fionn, who says he loves Bust or Trust and listens to every episode.
Oh, we love our subscribers and we love to hear from you. Do let us know through Patreon if you have a message for us or a shout-out request. Every Patreon supporter gets one.
Head to patreon.com/Bust or Trust to subscribe and get access to Bust or Trust HQ. In the briefing room, you'll find bonus episodes, weekly newsletters, monthly colouring sheets, and more.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time for more Bust or Trust.
I don't want to do a camp for trusters anymore. I want to make an alien-themed cafe.
What's made you change your mind?
I liked your thoughts about space cafes having flying saucers.
Which would be pretty risky.
Yeah, it would, but what about the UFO cafe, where we serve unidentified flying omelettes?
How is it unidentified?
I made one for you earlier. Here you go.
I guess no one can identify that omelette now.
Exactly.